Hello student, this is Shurprakash and today you will study here fifth lesson of your book, that is Footprints Without Feet, and also the name of the lesson is Footprints Without Feet. It is written by H.G. Wells. Students, it is a part of H.G. Wells novel, that is The Invisible Man, where it is told us about a genius scientist who discovered to become invisible. He had a formula of becoming invisible, but he was a lawless person who broke rules and regulations and also mischievous. So, we will study here a part of that novel and we will find how he became invisible and what he did after that. So, the story starts in London. The two boys started in surprise at the fresh muddy imprints of a pair of bare feet. What was a barefooted man doing on the steps of a house in the middle of London? And where was the man? Two boys noticed something is strange, that steps are being marked, but there was no person whose imprints was these. But they anyhow saw these imprints and followed the imprints, because in the winter time London is very cold, so no one can be without any shoes, and he was barefoot. As they gazed, a remarkable sight met their sight. A fresh footmark appeared from nowhere. Further footprints followed, one after another, descending the steps and progressing down the street. The boys followed, fascinated, until the muddy impressions became fainter and fainter, and at last disappeared altogether. So, this was the main thing which was very surprising, that the boys who saw the footprints, they followed the footprints, and fresh muddy footprints was imprinting, but there was no person. So they found that these marks were of an invisible person. The explanation of the mystery was really simple enough. The bewildered boys had been following a scientist who had just discovered how to make the human body transparent. Griffin, the scientist, had carried out experiment after experiment to prove that the human body could become invisible. Finally, he swallowed certain rare drugs and his body became as transparent as a sheet of glass, though it also remained as solid as a glass. So, undoubtedly, Griffin was a great scientist, because this type of experience can never be fulfilled, and he did, through experiments after experiment, he invented some kind of rare medicine by swallowing that any person can become invisible and the body will remain as solid as a glass, means as you are. So he did that thing. He became invisible because he eaten that drug. Brilliant scientist though he was, Griffin was rather a lawless person. His landlord disliked him and tried to eject him. In revenge, Griffin set fire to the house. To get away without being seen, he had to remove his clothes. Thus, it was that he became a homeless wanderer, without clothes, without money, and quite invisible, until he happened to step in some mud and left footprints as he walked. So, as I told you earlier, that he was very lawless person. He was very brilliant, because any brilliant can find this type of rare medicine, and that he got. And after that, though he was lawless, he was brilliant. And due to his mischievous nature, his landlord disliked him, and he wanted that he would get out of his house. So he became very angry on that idea of his landlord. So he set fire to the house and escaped from that place. So one thing is noticeable, that he was invisible when only he was naked. No clothes were there on his body, then only he was invisible. And that is how he became invisible. And in the mid winter of the London, he was homeless wanderer, without clothes, without money, and quite invisible, because if he had anything in his pocket, that could be seen, or if he had any food indigested in his stomach, then it can also be seen. So he was unnoticed until or unless he got some mud on his foot and he walked the road. He escaped easily enough from the boys who followed his footprints in London, but his adventures were by no means over. He had chosen a bad time of the year to wander about London without clothes. It was midwinter, the air was bitterly cold, and he could not do without clothes. Instead of walking about the street, he decided to slip into a big London store for warmth. As you know, as you know about the cold of midwinter in London, so it was chilly outside, and he was naked, totally naked, just because of his invisibility. He wanted to become invisible, and that's why he removed all his clothes. And the cold was there, so he wanted to get some warmth, and in order to get some warmth, he went into a big store in big London. Closing time arrived, and as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without regard to expense. He broke open boxes and wrappers and fitted himself out with the warm clothes. Soon, with shoes, an overcoat, and a white brimmed hat, he became a fully dressed and visible person. In the kitchen of the restaurant, he found cold meat and coffee, and he followed up the meal with sweets and wine taken from the grocery store. Finally, he settled down to sleep on a pile of quilts. He went to that store, and however he wanted to please himself, he did. He clothed himself, means he wore clothes which were there in the store, and ate everything what he wanted. He also drank wine and ate some cold meat and coffee, and finally he wanted a good sleep, so he there managed some quilts and went in to sleep. If only Griffin had managed to wake up in good time, all might have been well. As it was, he did not wake up until the assistants were already arriving next morning. When he saw a couple of them approaching. He panicked and began to run, then naturally gave chase. In the end, he was able to escape only by quickly taking off his newly found clothes. So, once more he found himself invisible but naked in the chilly January air. So, you know very well that if you are tired and hungry and you have every kind of pleasure after that, then what happens? You have a pleasant sleep, and that he had. He slept, and there would have been no problem if he had been woken up timely. But what happened? He was sleeping continuously until or unless store assistants arrived there. They arrived and found that there was a person in the store, and they started chasing him. He ran, and he could escape from them only by removing his clothes, because after that he would become invisible. So he again made him naked and escaped from that place, and he wandered after that in chilly January air. So that is how he escaped from there. And what happens after that? He thought of becoming some kind of pleaser for he wanted to find some kind of pleaser for him. So he decided to go to a theatrical company, because he knew very well there only he could find everything he wanted: a false nose, a cap, a tape to wrap around his face, and all that. So this time he decided to try to the stock of a theatrical company in the hope of finding not only clothes but also something that would hide the empty space above his shoulder. Shivering with the cold, he hurried to Drury Lane, the center of the theatre world. Soon he found a suitable shop. He made his way invisible upstairs and came out a little later wearing bandages round his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bushy side whiskers, and a large hat. To escape without being seen, he callously attacked the shopkeeper from behind, after which he robbed him of all the money he could find. So, there, when he went to the theatrical shop, he found a suitable shop where he could find everything. So, a false nose, uh, after wearing clothes, after wearing clothes, the upper part of his body, that is head, cannot be cannot be seen then also. So what he did, he wrapped a strap around his face, and a false nose he used, and then a glasses, a pair of glasses, and then hat, all things which could cover his face. He found everything and he escaped from that place. And at last, what happened? He robbed the shopkeeper. He taken as much money as he could, because he had no money and he was a lawless person, that you know very well. So he robbed the person also. Eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, where he booked 2 rooms at a local inn. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was, in any case, an unusual event. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all tongues wagging. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly, but Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. So, when he was caught in London, the rumor came of an invisible person to each and everyone. So, it was good for him to leave London as soon as possible, and he did so, and he went to a nearby village, Epping. It was a small village where, in an inn, he booked 2 rooms. It was very unusual for for that place for any visitor, because it was very chilly, and in winters no one visited that place. So the owner, Mrs. Hall, uh, she was the wife of owner of the inn. She found that he was very irritable person and very strange, with very strange behavior. She got advance money and ignored all the misbehavior of the person. He said that he had an accident, and that's how his face became affected after that. And he also told her that he was a scientist and he wanted a solitude in his work. So he wanted not to be disturbed. Then what happened? Let's read. He had the money which he had stolen, and he paid the rent, and he spent happily few days after that. But soon what happened? His money got over, and he accepted that he had no money to Mrs. Hall, but said that a check would arrive at any moment. He had ordered someone. He said her so. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. Creeping downstairs, they heard the chink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. Without making any noise, and with a poker grasp firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. Surrender. Then, to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. There wasn't a sign of anybody, yet the desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. So, you came to know here that Griffin lost all his money and now he wanted money. He told a lie to Mrs. Hall that a check would arrive at any moment, but it was not so. He was intended to do something mischievous, and what he did, a clergyman who works in church, in his house he went, sneaked in, and stolen money. Though he was invisible, the noise came that someone is there in the room, but when the clergyman and his wife went into the room, they found that no one is there, but somehow the money was stolen. And this was the big event of that day, that there was no one and money was stolen. So he keep on saying to everyone, because it was a small village and rumor spread very easily. But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped round the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. The bedclothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time, and stranger still, the cloths and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leaped up and dashed itself into her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive, springing into the air. It charged straight at her, legs foremost. As she and her husband turned all away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. So, the same morning, the next event happened. What happened? Mrs. Hall, who was the owner of the inn, he went up and found that the door of the scientist's room was open, wide open. Generally, it was closed. But at that morning, what happened? It was wide open. So, it was a good opportunity that cannot be missed. So she and her husband tried to sneak in and investigate about the scientist. All the things that clothes were cold, that means he was awakened before some time, and all the wrappings which covered his mouth were away from him, that were lying on the bed. So all of a sudden, what happened? Mrs. Hall heard a kind of breathing sound near her ear. All of a sudden, what happened? Everything strange happened. The cap which Griffin wore came on, dashed the face of Mrs. Hall, and all the furniture became alive. Means it was none other than Griffin who was carrying the chair, because he was invisible person and no one could see Griffin. He lifted the furniture and threw toward both of them, and he pushed both of them out of the room and just closed the door. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. My poor mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned. To think it should rise up against me now. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. But witchcraft or not, When news of burglary at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having had a hand in it. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. The village constable was secretly sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist, who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs, she demanded, and I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. So, all the things were very strange in the village. After that, Mrs. Hall was very surprised and thought that it was a kind of witchcraft, that he was a wizard, and anything he did that which is very strange, and burglary, which the news of it also spread, and he was the first suspect, because he had accepted in the morning that he had no money, and he became with cash. Then after, the constable was secretly sent, and Mrs. Hall reached to the scientist and inquired many things, that how you came in the locked room, and when it was locked, how you appeared from that only. The scientist was always quick tempered. Now he became furious. You don't understand who or what I am, he shouted. Very well, I will show you. Suddenly he threw off bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and even nose. It took him only a minute to do this. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man. Mr. Zephyr, the constable, now arrived and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. But Zephyr was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If magistrates warrant ordered a person arrest, then that person had to be arrested with or without his head. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. Finally, a shirt flew into the air, and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. Some people tried to help him but found themselves hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. In the end, Jeffers was knocked unconscious as he made a last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. There were nervous, excited cries of hold him, but this was easier said than done. Griffin had shaken himself free, and no one knew where to lay hands on him. So, when Mr. Jaffer, who was village constable, arrived there, he found that he was a headless man whom he had to arrest. Because when Mrs. Hall asked, "Who are you and why you came here? What are your intentions?" then he removed all his bandages, false nose, spectacles, and the cap, and thus he had become invisible. And when Jeffers arrived, he found him at that condition, but he was very honest constable, and anyhow he had to arrest the person, whether he is without head or with head. So he tried to arrest, but what happened? He kept on removing his clothes one after another, and after some time, everyone found that he became totally invisible when he kept off his shirt. So everyone was horrified at seeing that he was a an invisible person, and Mr. Jaffer, who was village constable, tried to find and tried to catch him. Anyhow, everyone who was present there tried to catch him, but every person found a blow on the face, and that is how no one could catch the scientist Griffin, and he escaped from that place only. So this story tells you that a genius scientist who is very laborious, and with his efforts he found such medicines which made him invisible. But though he was lawless, but he was lawless person, and that's why he used that thing in negative way. If he had used it in positive way, he would have been awarded, but he was not awarded. He was murdered at the last of the play, that novel, The Invisible Man, in